Hi, I'm Dawn H. Jones, your HR Wise Guide. Now, the UK government has proposed significant changes to the employment field as part of its plan to make work pay. And they're doing this through the Employment Rights Bill, which introduces 28 proposed measures. I know it's a lot, but further bills, amendments and consultations will follow, so it's anticipated that most of these reforms will not occur until 2026. Now, you can keep up to date with the timeline of changes via the UK government website .gov.uk or via the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development CIPD.co.uk or through ACAS, acas.gov.uk. For now, let's dive into a handful of the 28 proposed measures. Now, there are day one rights for unfair dismissal, for bereavement and paternity leave, okay? Statutory sick pay strengthened by removing the lower earning limits for workers and cutting the waiting period so workers can claim from the first day of sickness. Then there's also the banning of exploitative contracts. Workers can remain on 0 hours contracts if they prefer, or they can have the right to guaranteed hours contract if they work over a defined period. Now, there'll also be a right to reasonable notice of shifts, changes to shifts, and pay for cancellation of shifts in certain circumstances. Then there are increased protections for pregnant women and new mothers who will receive more robust protection from dismissal while pregnant or within 6 months of returning to work. How about banning fire and rehire practices? Well, the bill will restrict employers' ability to dismiss employees who fail to agree on a change to their contract. These dismissals will be treated as automatically unfair unless in limited circumstances the employer can demonstrate financial difficulties or the change was unavoidable. There's also changes to flexible working too. Currently, employees have the right to request flexible working from day one. The bill will give employees the right to flexible working hours. So employers can only refuse if they can demonstrate it's unreasonable on the grounds already set out in the Employment Relations Act 1996. Grounds such as extra costs that will damage the business, the work cannot be reorganised amongst other staff, people cannot be recruited to do the work, flexible working will affect the quality of the work, or it will affect performance, or the business will be able to meet customer demand. Another ground is there's a lack of work to do during the proposed working times. So those are just some of the grounds that already exist. Then there's prevention of sexual harassment from third parties, and there'll be an increased duty on employers. Employers have a new obligation to prevent sexual harassment from third parties. What about trade union changes? Well, there are changes to balloting and workplace access. Okay, that's a snapshot of the forthcoming changes. And there's also been a lot of commentary on the extent to which government has delivered on its proposals, what the impact of the changes will have on employers, and the resources it will take to implement the changes, including the skill set of HR staff, some of whom will have no experience of working with unions. All that is true and relevant, right? But a thought arose in my mind. The changes are coming, but what about employers who are struggling right now with the current requirements? Let me explain. So some employers are not following or adhering to their current policies and procedures, employment laws, or fulfilling their current responsibilities as we stand now. Others do the bare minimum to fulfill their employer responsibilities, or they may dismiss someone before they reach 2 years of service and obtain unfair dismissal rights. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not employer bashing, but real talk, this is a reality. However, employers with these issues have a small window to improve their current employment practices. Here's why. If those employments don't get their house in order or their employment practice in order, they will have a more challenging time implementing the changes from the Employment Rights Bill, which gives employees more rights than they have now. Trust me when I say that the employers who do have their house in order, so to speak, have a lot of work to do themselves, but they have the advantage of a good foundation of sound employment practices. Now, if you are an employer who needs to make up ground, the best time to start is now. Do what it takes to improve your current employment practices and employee relations to position yourself to prepare for the forthcoming changes. Here are 3 suggestions you can take to get started. Number 1, conduct a thorough assessment of your current employment practices, and as part of that, meaningfully invite and engage feedback from stakeholders, your employees. You will also need them to help you implement genuine and lasting change. 2, take action promptly and transparently to address any shortfalls. And 3, skill up your frontline managers to consistently apply policies and processes fairly and consistently, and use it as an opportunity to highlight the forthcoming change. Consider doing that for your employees also. Now, these are only suggestions and certainly not a one-size-fits-all approach. If you want to help your managers apply policies and procedures fairly and consistently, I can help you with that. I've taught these workshops in 3 large organisations and helped one client address gaps in their disciplinary procedure to prevent inequities. All you have to do is schedule a call. I'll place a link in the description below. We'll discuss your needs and I'll develop and deliver a bespoke workshop based on 2 of your organisation's policies and procedures per workshop. It's as simple as that. Lastly, the employment field is about to undergo significant change.